As I mentioned earlier, MSNBC banned from the courtroom. Judge Schroeder made the announcement this morning after a freelance producer allegedly followed a sealed bus with the jurors inside as it left the courthouse last night. In a statement, NBC said last night a freelancer received a traffic citation. While the traffic violation took place near the jury van, the freelancer never contacted or intended to contact the jurors during deliberations and never photographed or intended to photograph them. We regret the incident and will fully cooperate with the authorities on any investigation, end quote. Could sideshows like this derail the trial? Let's get into it with tonight's party panel. We've got Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor Charlie Hurt is here. Oh, yeah. Plus Democrat strategist and former Biden campaign surrogate. He's the sunshine in my sky, Kevin Walling. And here we have 2020 Libertarian vice presidential candidate. He's setting the liberty world on fire, one campfire at a time. It is Spike Cohen. Hi, everyone. So let us discuss.
Hey,
Thank you. Hi. Wonderful, wonderful. Charlie, I will start with you. What was the MSNBC producer trying to do? Was this, because when I first heard about this, I think to myself, oh, he's trying to get their likenesses and he'll give them to Joy Reid and then she will shame them. And then anyone in the future who's on a high profile jury will try and get out of it, or they will vote a certain way as to not be shamed by someone.
Yeah, whatever his intention was, that was going to be the result of tracking them down. And even if he didn't manage to get their picture, there's intimidation that goes along with tracking them down and following them. Gangsters have gone away to prison for the rest of their lives for doing this sort of thing, as they should. I would argue that from the beginning, the media, especially sort of the left-wing crazy kook media like MSNBC, has been, they're the ones that sort of whipped up the riots in the first place. They're the ones that whipped up the prosecution to make these crazy charges, I think, in the first place. And now they're trying to, get the verdict that they want out of this through intimidation. And it's really appalling. And thank God the judge stepped in and said something about it.
Yeah, and if you are not on the jury, but you're a family member, you're really worried about stuff like this. Because now you think, there are people who are targeting my family member, and, it's terrifying. And then you call your daughter, you call your sister, and you warn them about what's going on. And, all of a sudden the jury knows about it, and that can affect the outcome. That's not how we should be doing things in this country, Kevin.
No, we're in total agreement. And, I fully support this investigation into this freelance journalist working for NBC News, MSNBC, that was trailing this with that intention. I think Charlie's right of figuring out who these people are. We need to desensationalize this trial to the extent that we can to see that, fair justice is carried out. Whatever the jury decides, we've got I think it's 5 men and 7 women that are going to decide Kyle's fate, this 18-year-old's fate. And they should do so with some integrity and respect for the process. And when any kind of media outlet sensationalizes this or threatens the livelihoods of these juries, it's a dangerous thing.
But Joy Reid said that they're white tears, they're white man tears. So that makes a difference. Is this a cut and dry case to you, Spike?
Cut and dry case regarding the MSNBC ban, I really don't know. It sounds like he said, she said.
The self-defense.
I think so. I think so. I came into this thinking that it was not a good idea for Kyle to go there. But once he was there, I hadn't seen any evidence that he had trespassed or threatened anyone. He was very judicious in his use of his rifle. There were other people that attacked him that he did not shoot. The only people he ever actually did shoot were someone who chased him into a corner, someone who hit him in the head with a skateboard, and someone who pointed a pistol at him. Those were the only 3 people he shot at. And then after watching all the evidence from actually just from the prosecution, that was enough for me to realize that was the case. And, when it comes to this other stuff with the MSNBC ban, whether it was intentional or not, it has that possibility of trying to frighten or intimidate this jury. At this point, I think the only way you're going to end up with a conviction is if the jury is scared not to convict.
Yeah, this has been a fascinating case. And, Charlie, I have to say this has been a great example of why we need cameras in the courtroom, why we need to see the process, because, you know, the filtration system that we used to be able to trust, journalists in this country, they have a narrative that they're trying to sell, and that's not necessarily always the truth. On MSNBC, they didn't show the defense closing argument.
So you make a great point. You know, my default position with courts is much like the C-SPAN cameras in Congress. They're very counterproductive because you wind up with a bunch of whores who want to, you know, position for the cameras and behave for the cameras, and they do it quite differently than if they are actually trying to just sort of do their job. But you make the greatest point, the best argument for it, which is we can no longer trust the media. So of course you need cameras in places, and for that matter, we ought to have cameras in classrooms.
But not restrooms, Charlie. That's going a bridge too far. I want to save your reputation.
Well, I'm not at liberty to speak about that.
I love a good old-fashioned restraining order. All right.